In for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that coming after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. But I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan, bro. Don't take no back talk, no bribe or no joke. If you find fire, you definitely find smoke. Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan, bro. Bintan, I say up and running. Caliban say my show boy don't ever give in. 7 years of farm and watch the crops them coming. True they see a humble thing, the lion sleeping. But they ain't for no reason. Only God that I believe in, living. Watch them only passion for a season.
Good night, Bahamas, and welcome to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I am your host, Valentino Brown, a.k.a. Scrooge, MP, Governor, so many nicknames, Daddy. It's a pleasure to be your host on this wonderful Friday. I hope you had a wonderful holiday, eat a lot of fish and a lot of, hot cross buns. Telephone numbers tonight are 323-6232, 325-4316, and 325-4259. And you can text us, powered by BTC, at 422 GR96, and you can listen to us cable Bahamas on the 969 or 961. When we have difficulty, you can listen to 961. It's our sister station, and like I said, it's a pleasure to be your host on this wonderful Friday. I hope each and every one of you who are listening, I really appreciate you. You make my day as a host very, very exciting, and I'm always try to make it here on Friday because of the compliments you guys have been giving me over the years on my fairness and my intellect, and just the truth I speak, and I speak so many of our stories, and I'm glad it's a reflection on how we need a show like this, and persons like myself and all the callers and all the listeners who listening, to just keep the show going. And I'm just here to serve and bring things that are in the dark to the light, and have a lot of solutions on the way forward for the country. And many of the topics I like to chip in now and again. Some I don't have all the proper statistics and data and stuff like that, but I have the basic, So today's show we're going to talk about just a little bit, we had a former MP was shot in the neck area, according to the newspaper, after robbery. And we just want to talk about that just a little bit. But our main topic today is about pension shake-up, over 3.5 billion, whole. And, I'm not really of the type of, info, but I have the basics. And I have the basics, and then the callers, the listeners out there who probably would have more knowledge and could add something more into it. The line is open to you guys, just to verify, or you might say I've miscalculated or whatever the situation is, just to get me on the right track. I'd appreciate it. Okay, we had a major spike in violent crimes beginning of the year of January. I think it was 27 plus murders. And then, after a while, it started to balance off, which it never does. What happens in the country is that people who have beef with their enemy or someone who hurt their family member, if that person is killed or that person is incarcerated, sometimes it eases the pain of the conflict. Not necessarily everything is all about gangs, but we have in society there are a lot of broken young men and a lot of broken females who are making unwise choices in the country today. And it's our job as citizens of the country who have the proper education, not because you have the proper education degrees and bachelor's degree and this and that, means that you could solve a lot of the country's problem. Because you could be that very intelligent, but also be very naive to really understand the situation as someone coming and saying something to you to actually bring a solution. But with your education and your whatever you have, you would try to overshadow that person who has a good idea. In fact, it might be the right idea to go forward with a little assistance from you if you add something onto it. So, yeah. So, it's been like a grace period where we in the country, we complain, we go on social media, we go on the news, we do all these church services, we make these speeches, we need to get together, we go make these prayers down, and then we expect for God to solve our problems. But like I always said, I believe that when we watch movies like Thor, I always look at Odin and I look at Thor, and if you really do the manuscript on how it was written, Thor is actually supposed to be Jesus, and then Odin's supposed to be God, right? But the saying is this. In it, you would see where Odin goes to sleep after he has a lot of stress. And you call it the Odin sleep. He's still living, but he's not moving. And the Bible also states that the Father, after he created the earth and he saw that everything was perfect, he said that it's all is well. And then he rested on the seventh day. To me, I feel that the Father still is resting and letting man themselves destroy themselves, or they're going to make the country or world a better place. They have the choice. They have the answers, they have the solution, they have the power. According to the scriptures and all the pastors and everyone else who live in the world, and those who don't believe in Christ or whatever, they still have the philosophy that you have the power as an individual to make big change in the world. Right? Okay. So, I feel that the situation that's happening in our country is we have the power to make change in the country. And all we're saying now is that we rile ourselves up every time violent crime kicks up in the country. But it does not go nowhere because, like I said, it cancels out those particular persons who had their beef. Either they get killed or they go to jail or something drastic happens. And some things die off. And then some people cancel out one another by having wars and stuff like that. And then eventually it dies off. Then the next generation comes up with some type of scruffle with someone did a nightclub, or someone wants to hire a hitman, and et cetera. Or guys who desperate for money, they have no alternative. They go on the armed robbery streak, and then you have, So we have a lot of scenarios in there. And it all comes down to the fact that we have a breaking home. So now let me get to the point what I'm trying to make. Excuse me. Oh, let's cough. The point I'm trying to make is, when you look at the scenario with Mr. Sanders, my condolences to the family, losing a loved one is very difficult. It affects so many people, and you stop a lot of progress because you never know how much more he could contribute to developing the country, how many more people he or he could have helped, with his connection, with him being whatever the person he are. I don't know how he was as an individual, but it seems to be a very nice guy. Things happen, guys, things just happen, like you can't explain it, the only thing you can do is accept it and show your sorrow, and then hope that, the family, is at ease, and just block a prayer and try to ease that pain, even though you might not know them personally, but we all are one branch on one tree living in the Bahamas, so we must feel things, because we might not know him, but when we heard what happened, we felt it just as well as we feel other people. But hard in the spotlight, he's a former MP and etc. It doesn't change the fact that he's better than somebody. It's the fact that it goes to show that in this country, you can be a victim regardless of what background, rich or poor, political scene, pastor, civilian, gangster, it's out here for us all because we have a sickness, and our sickness is violence in this country. What we fail to understand is that the Bahamas is a violent nation. You understand? We are a violent nation. Unless we accept that we are a violent nation and do the proper programs to try and make our women and our young girls more feminine, how to dress, how to talk, let them get their full potentials, how a lady should walk the streets, how she should talk, the same thing with our young gentlemen growing up in the school today. Everything is just anger, rowing is just anger. Everything is, you don't have to do nobody now to lose your life or to get in problem, and Mr. Mr. Sanders is no exception. According to reading the newspaper, I'm not discussing the case, I'm just discussing what's in the newspaper. They're saying that Mr. Sanders was out, gamble, and then held at gunpoint. And then, he must have got agitated, because, some men are not intimidated by gun, even though you could have a gun on them, You got a lot of brave men out there, who would defend themselves. Now, you might say it's stupid, a man has a gun on you, but in some cases, you don't know circumstances, the circumstances that happen in that particular split second, He might could have been giving the guys what they want and they want to be over-aggressive, or, it could be something deeper than that. But anyway, the point I'm trying to say is that he brushed the gentleman, and then the gentleman must shot him. They have 3 men held in custody. I can't say if these guys are still in custody or they're responsible. The commissioner of police is saying that they're looking at the footage of the cameras in that particular area. It's very sad in our country. And gentlemen like these young men who are around doing these type of murders and armed robbery, it goes deep. We have a lot of them around in the country, opportunists. And like I said, you don't have to do nobody nothing now to lose your life, because you could be to work, your boss, don't like you, put pressure on you, and, you live in a particular area. Now the boss, saying some things to you which you don't like. This is how serious life is now. But not knowing to him, and then you're going to make a crucial mistake as well. You could think more like the streets, and you say, man, this guy always messing around me, or he this and that, or he messing around your girl, and, you can go to your friend and say, man, look at this nigga messing with me, man. Look, I want y'all to deal with this nigga, what you're dealing with, Not knowing to you who the guys now are plotting on you. Like, you could be a manager on a job and, have a problem with an employee. He's mad, you have brothers or friends in the neighborhood. You trash talking them, you're using your position. I'm not saying you're in the wrong, He might think you're in the wrong because, that's how people just think when you're so negative. You're never thinking you're wrong. You're always thinking you're right. So even when people are right, you're always thinking, you understand what I'm saying? So anyway, guys like them can use their influence. And you're in a manager, you're here talking. This guy is going home and talking to a couple of guys and, let me give you a little couple of dollars, this guy joking. I want y'all to deal with him, Now, not knowing you as a manager, you ain't taking it serious. And even if you take it serious, you don't know what's going to hit you. because the element of surprise is a very serious thing, you know. Ambush in the night is a very serious thing because you never know when the gunman come in. You could prepare, you could have your gun on you, but you can't prepare, you know. Sometimes you could be ready, but these people on you, they're watching your movements, they're watching you pull up in the driveway, you know. These guys think, you know. And that's their thing. You know, and that's how our country is now, you know. We have to take away the power away from these young men who use their manhood to take other people's life in the country. And the only way we're going to do that if we're in power. Because when I look at the streets, you know, all I see is guys who are murderers on the streets, honestly speaking. You know, if we take a stance and look at the police force and we expecting the commissioner of police or the Royal Bahamas Police Force to solve our problem. Just look back 40 years. Has they been able to solve our problem? They are being able to slow down our problem and save many lives. But they're not being able to slow down the problem. They ain't conquer the firearms on the streets as much police cars we have on the streets, as much as police officers we have on the streets. They have not been able to stop the flow of drugs. They have not been able to stop the flow of illegal immigrants coming in the country the last 40 years. Okay? And even themselves has been involved in illegal activities, and many of the officers themselves are turning out to be criminals. Why is there as many decent, distinguished, law-abiding officers on the Royal Bahamas Police Force? We heard the Minister of National Security spoke the other day when we had the 27 murders. We didn't hear nothing from Commissioner Clayton Fernandez for about a whole month or two. You know, and when the Minister of National Security spoke, he said out of his own mouth that, you know, the police, you know, can't solve this alone. He said, what are you doing, you know, to help curb the crime situation in our country? Because everyone knows now that the police and the government can't solve the problem. Collectively, we can, but collectively is a very, very hard thing to do in this country because of the political differences, because of personal differences. You know, I have people who, you know, I work with and then we fall out, but I see a person and hold grudges, you know. So I'll never stop a person from working with me that is something positive that is going to benefit others. I know how to cooperate like that. I know how to separate my personal feelings. But many of the people who are in high places, you know, they're petty-minded, and, you know, if you listen to some of the back and forth in Parliament over the years, it is ridiculous, and that's the pettiness and that our leaders portray in the country. The immaturity. Now, we might have a lot of violent people on the streets and now, so no problems. But when we look at our members of Parliament, you know, they are arrogant. They are selfish. You understand? Some are disrespectful. So even that is a stain on our eyes. So, for me, like seeing Sanders and me said ourselves, you know, January going, it slowed down, so we stopped. Then we had six people shot a few days ago, before Sanders, I think so. And a few years ago, we had 6 young men killed in the country, you know. But now we have 6 people shot again, and I don't know if any died from the injuries or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, those persons who had those firearms, their intention was to kill. So that could have been 6 people there again, probably even 7 or 8. So, yeah, the problem is never going to go nowhere. And like I said, I look at the streets now, and the way things are going right now, you know, it ain't looking too good for us as a nation when it comes to 100 people every year are getting killed. And that could be any one of us at any time, and you don't have to do nobody nothing. You could be in the wrong spot at the wrong time, or, like I said, you could have a problem with somebody in your neighborhood who just, wouldn't let a little small situation die and just decides to put a hit on you. Or you could be rowing somebody, and, they just get agitated and they just go get a gun and come back and shoot you. Or it's a boyfriend and girlfriend, or husband cheating on his wife and going by an ex-manos, and the man catch him there, and then, it's a big back and forth. The husband is wrong, he's married, but, he feel he's right because, he checking this guy, girlfriend, and he's in the house, and he expecting that he's the right when he's married, and we have seen that happen in the country. We had a case with a deacon, I think, built his sweetheart a house a few years ago. He's married, went to his sweetheart house, thinking all is good. When he went to the house, he meet his sweetheart in the bed laying down, with her boyfriend. And he couldn't take it. Now, I don't know why he could take it, but I could think I could understand. I could think I could put it together. He couldn't take it because, he think that's his woman, but he's married, so he's done wrong. And then he thinking because he building a house for his sweetheart that is right. But the sweetheart knows he has a wife, and he ain't leaving his wife, and you're telling her this. So she might love you, but then you become sugar daddy. She got her feelings, she love you, but she want a man who could be there for her every night. You can't be there every night. So she needs someone to be there every night. So now, when you sneak out from your wife, she tell you call, you hear her call, you think you're in charge because, you're spending these thousands and, so you think buying her the nicest, probably car, getting a couple $1,000 every month, paying the rent, so you thinking you're in full control. But when you reach there, you meet Joe Grimes there, and you can't take it. So what you do? You get your cutlass, you spank a man on the bottom, and then you kill your girlfriend. And then look what happened. You go right there. You was married, got children, hey? Got a nice construction company, doing good. But you decide that, this is the way you want to go. And now look where he is, in Foxwood Prison. And it's the kind of things that are affecting us in the country. We have to be able to sit down and talk to our children and explain these type of incidents, these murders. And we have to encourage them not to do the same thing as our fellow Bahamians did. You see? And we have to teach them. But we also have to empower them. We have to look at all some of these murders and take them around to the school and explain to them this, what caused that. This guy shoot this girl. This guy shoot this one because of this girl. Who's in the right and who's in the wrong? Would you make the same choice or the same decision? And that's what we need to do in our country. But we're going to have to invest. Okay, put 5 more minutes on this, and then we're going to talk about the pension shakeup. Now, I know most of you are wondering why I'm talking this way. I'm talking this way because what I see with my natural eyes is that we're going to keep on having 100 murders per year in this country. Because I live on in the city community, and I see the poverty is going on. Most importantly, what disturbed me is how some of our female mothers talk to their children. Very disturbing for me. And that is an indication to me of what's to come. because I've seen it over the years, and I watch children just like that grow up. It affects them. It devastates them, the way how their parents talk to them. And there's so many of that going on in our country today. That's why I want to say to our leaders, you're going to have to empower the people of the Bahamas on many fronts. You're going to have to develop the communities. You're going to have to find common ground, which I know is going to be very impossible in this country to find a common ground. Because I know, without a shadow of doubt, that the solutions are here. We don't need to ask no more questions. We can act and stop playing this movie thing. This ain't no movie, okay? This could be any one of you guys in the country. Remember, a few years ago, we had Archbishop William Thompson killed, and that's what Archbishop William Thompson. Then we had an MP, I can't remember his name, Paintan MP. He was also killed. You understand? Person needs to be rehabilitation. Streets, and those living on the streets have to be empowered. Trickle-down effect. Because here's the reason why. And I'm going to end on this. They say the three men were unknown to police. Right? And every time you listen to the news, one of these men or both of these men are also always known to police. Why is that? Because there are so many guys known to police. Because we reproduce them. So all I'm saying is that we're going to have to continue to encourage our leaders to provide the best opportunity in the schools, provide the best solutions as far as community development, providing small business loans, building homes, and most importantly, we need to teach our kids what's right from wrong, and we need to monitor the homes, especially of these kids who are at risk. And like I said, verbal abuse is really hurting our country, than physical abuse. Okay? So I would like to encourage persons again, be careful on your surroundings. Just try not to get yourself in no argument with nobody. If an argument persists, understand that it could go either way. You're going to lose your life, or someone's going to hurt, or you end up before the courts, or end up in the police line. So sometimes it's just better to just analyze the situation. And then if you could walk away when you have an opportunity to, you should do that. Boyfriend, girlfriend, I like to encourage you that even for your man, try to see how you can de-escalate a situation or row with your significant other. Same thing with husband and wife, because your life is very precious, and the more many of us get angry in the country, the more we hate one another. And like I said, the Bahamas is a violent society. And we need to put the proper measures and proper programs in place now so that we can be able to retrain our females into how they can become better mothers, better wives, better girlfriends, better aunties, better cousins. Same way with our young men. We're going to teach them how to become men, how to become responsible, what it is to be a man, what a man's job is. And then in there, we empower them and we get the family structure. And from there, we can start to make progress. Other than that, we're going to have 100 murders per year. And your life depends on you, each and every one of you out there. Because many of us put some of these situations on ourselves. We're seeing that if someone goes to the nightclub and he rouse, we see that it escalates into gun battle. So avoid sports where people, going with anklet bracelet on, and there's a lot of fighting around there. There's no need to go there. You're costing yourself, then you go there, and you should not be there because you know it's a hot spot, but the crowd is going there and you want to go there. And then when you go there, you end up getting yourself hurt. You can end up getting shoot, get knocked down from a car, or get yourself into a confrontation with the police or with some other people in the club who are partying. So yes. So just be vigilant and be careful. Okay? So, excuse me. I was on the draft last night, so, excuse me. We're going to talk about this pension shakeup over $3.5 billion hole. Taxpayers' burden to rise 33% to $290 million by 2030. What does this mean for the Bahamian people? And I'm just going to give my input, and then you could call in those who are experts, and y'all could give your opinion. And just my opinion, What is pensions first? Okay, I think I get the basic on this. Pension is government, corporations, or certain businesses that would say, you put in, especially government. Let me just use government or corporation. Let me just use the government by example first. Or a nurse or a doctor. Just say you're Perry Christie, Prime Minister of the country. It says that, you have to serve probably 35 years to get your pension. But if you want to get your pension as the Prime Minister, you got to serve 2 terms. So you put in 35 years as a police officer, defense force officer, immigration officer, custom officer. After serving the amount of years, serving the government of the Bahamas, you are entitled to pension. You pay a national insurance, it goes to national insurance, and then you serve your time during 35, 45 years, and then in your retirement, as you retire, they would give you a certain amount every month. And it's the job of the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, to make sure that all pensions of government, corporations like the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Immigration Department, all the government departments that are part of the government, they give back those who serve that particular time. Some cases, I would say, they double dip or triple dip. We could talk about that a little later on in the show. So, some pension, like I said, can be triple. And what I mean by triple, some people get retired and they get 2 or 3 different pensions. And the screen will be on the Bahamian taxpayers. Now, I'm not taking away nothing. I'm not taking no one's pension away for who do their time as a pensioner, okay? Because you truly deserve it. But sometimes, where we give people certain positions in government, and then we have to tax the Bahamian people. So let me read, to give you a prime example. pensioners for thousands of Bahamian public sector workers are poised for a major shakeup in a bid to tackle alarming unfunded liabilities that could impose a $3.5 billion burden on taxpayers come 2030. And that's us. Okay? So Simon Wilson, the Minister of Financial Secretary, told the newspaper that these pension liabilities represent the top risk to the stability of the government's finances and need to be dealt with as soon as possible to reduce the threat that taxpayers will increasingly be called upon to plug those multi-billion-dollar hole. Now, when you're saying things like that, and people are worrying about taxes and worrying about the increase in national insurance, all this year is what it is. Because when we pay all these pensions, and the Prime Minister got to look for this money, so you got to try to find ways to keep the government stable. Because you get former teachers, you get former police officers in the defense force. So they have to find ways to put money in the treasury so they could pay the pensioners, former governor generals, former commissioner of police, former commodore, director of immigration, who do their time, and they have to keep that going because every year we have pensioners who retire, and that's the strain that it puts on us. Let me read some more. So I'm going to go to page. I think I leave that. But anyway, pension is the biggest problem the country faces. It's the biggest problem. So if anyone want to talk anything about this pension shakeup over $3.5 million hole and what it means for us as taxpayers, are they going to increase taxes on us? Sometimes they erode money from national insurance like they've been doing for the last couple of years, and that's why national insurance is so broke. Because they have to pay off these pensioners. And we use the national insurance as a way to facilitate that, which in turn we're hearing the government wants to increase national insurance. Now we're hearing members of the government, the Prime Minister response, say there's not going to be an increase in NIB. And this is one of the reasons they want to increase NIB, because they look at the outcome of this $3.5 million hole, and it's because overspending of government. You understand? They're overspending. They're paying a lot of people, and some people they're paying 2 and 3 times. Okay. I could be wrong, but let's say a person holds 3 positions and they retire from government, and they do their time, and they get a pension for that. It comes out to be many people taxpayer, and the government got to find a way to keep that going. I don't know all the logistics about it, but I know one thing: it's hurting us. It's hurting us big time. And people deserve their pensions now. I'm not saying that they don't deserve their pension. They really do. But I think we need to find a way of saying, let us pay out the whole thing one time to the pensioners, instead of saying, what, you're going to get it for the rest of your life. I think we're going to have to find a way on how we're going to stop that, because the country is never going to grow. It's never going to grow, because if you keep on increasing taxes and we keep on dipping in national insurance and the government of the country has no choice but to keep on taxing. Now, remember, if I'm correct, I think a lot of tax come in under the Christie administration, if I'm correct. I think Christie went to the Vatican City when he was the prime minister, and he met with the Pope. And then I know when he came back to the Bahamas, we had a lot of tax. Now, I know Vatican spells V-A-T-I, let me see, A-N. I think I get to spell it right. I might have spelled it, miss a letter. But when you look at what a lot of tax, at the same time, Mr. Christie went away. So there's nothing new under the sun, and taxes are always going to be up. It's the fact this pension is killing us. It's killing us. You hear that? And he says how they're going to plug it. So that's me and you. So how are we going to make it easier for the generation to come when we're going to keep on making the same mistakes over and over? Now, mind you, these are all Bahamians that are deserving of their pension. But that's like a lot of administrative people who getting a large chunk of the budget. And listen to this, 3.5. And if you look at what our budget was this year alone, and this is big, and people don't know how serious this is. This is serious, and this affects all of us. So the next generation now is going to have to struggle because we can't find a way to stabilize this pension hole that we're in. Then how are we going to be able to empower people? How are we going to be able to make sure that those who put in that 35, 45 years get their pension? How are we going to be able, for those people who pay their national insurance, for the money being taken out of national insurance to put and pay for the pensioners? Why is those who work hard every week, and national insurance sometimes take out $10, $5, or these people check every week, or the companies that they work for. And this is their retirement money. Because national insurance is just like a pension also. And that's how it's supposed to work. And we get the less amount from national insurance based on how we pay for the taxes increase that goes to the government, and then they use the money to pay for all the pensions. When I mean pensioners, Cynthia Mother Pratt, she did a time in government, certain MPs who did certain time, certain commissioner of police, certain nurses, certain, like I said, immigration officers, custom officers, anyone, defense force officers who do their time, So, boy, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I just want to knock on that. We also hear, just reading some stuff in the newspaper. Even the bus drivers want to increase. The government is saying a 25 cent bus increase, fare increase, and the bus drivers are saying that's a little too much, and that's the next tax on the Bahamian people. 25 cents, it might not seem like a lot, but it's plenty. Some people don't, just rely on the public transportation to get them around. So it's crazy, all this is taxes. We're going to take this call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside the Inner City on Guardian Radio. Good night.
Hello.
Good night.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good night. Good night.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Pleasant good evening. You know what I just wonder?
Go ahead, sir.
Because back in the day, this a case and scenario. This could happen to anybody.
Go ahead, sir.
I had a friend. He's working for so many years, right?
Yes, sir.
And he said, when I reach 65, I can get my pension. Now, he died at 63, right?
Yes, sir.
So all the family could get is maybe the $1,500 to bury him. All the contribution he made.
Mm-hmm.
That became null and void. Okay, a lot of people, I don't know what the statistic is.
Yes, just talk. Just talk naturally.
Okay, these people who dying prematurely, and they be paying national insurance.
Yes, sir.
They won't get their benefits.
No,
so
sir.
Where does that money go?
That's the question needs to be asked right there. That's the question to be asked. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking. That money goes towards, machine the pension for all the big time pensioners in government or whoever.
People dying early, where their pension going? I mean, it's mind-boggling to me because...
Go ahead, sir. Something to think about.
I just wonder, I can't, okay.
Let me see if I can say something. You said that a person who got their pension at 65 died at 63, and they could have given anywhere between $200,000 to $300,000 of NIB, but when they pass away, they only get $1,800. That what you trying to say?
Yeah.
That make any sense? That make any sense? That make any sense? That make any sense whatsoever, sir?
No, because I wonder. So what happens to those money? And that's only one case scenario. That happens many times. A lot of people die way before 63. You have people who die at 60, and they've been contributing to NIB. So I just wonder what they talking about the money depleted and stuff. What about those people who die early? What about people who get shoot? They might have been what you can do. I don't know. But I would say we have to see.
You're making a good point.
The pension stop at death.
Yep.
All right, okay?
Yes, sir.
The most you get for dying is $1,500 to $1,800. That's it.
That don't make no sense whatsoever because you put in over in a 30, 40-year period, you don't contribute close to over $200,000. How it is that when you pass away, you only get that don't make no sense. Your family supposed to at least get $100,000 or $150,000.
No, don't go like that. They have to use something to save to bury you, and that's it. So where the rest of the funds going?
But I'm saying that they were supposed to at least when they pass away, national insurance based on what they already contribute for the last 40 years. Right?
Yes.
They're supposed to say to the family, we're going to give you guys at least $80,000 or $90,000.
No, they don't do that.
I'm just saying that. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So when I hear them saying they got to raise the fund because just have less than $1,000, I say, well, but that people who die prematurely.
Honestly speaking, I picking between the lines now, and I'm watching this pension shakeup. I think the money is being rerouted because they said on numerous times on the news where the government of the Bahamas goes into NIB and removes the money and reroute it to some other government department to make up for some liabilities that the part of the government or the government failed to address, and they use that money.
Turn around and take money from the disabilities.
That's right.
See,
and that's the taxpayers again. See,
I get pissed off at the crap, because
see, it's a trick to it, and we got to understand that. That's why I'm glad you called in today to have this conversation, because I couldn't do it off my own, but you make some valid points that are simple points, but are very questionable and makes you think.
Yeah, but it's right in front of your face, though.
And I said the numbers don't add up. All right, listen, BMN people. You've been working at the gas station this year. You've been with Ken Perry God for 25, 30 years. Okay. So every year, every week, Ken Perry God takes out $5 or $6 or $5 or $10 with your check to make sure he pays your national insurance as required by the government. So add this 10 or $5 up for 20 to 35 years. Yeah. What you think that man is entitled to when he's finished his job?
If you ain't reach 65, hey.
And this 65 stuff, why is all this?
This got to be a scam, man. I don't know. I hate to call it that. But it's a scam. Because, after 65, you die anyway, you know.
Yes, sir. You correct.
Huh?
You correct. You
So
supposed
they put it to 65. Some people dying at 56, 54. Huh?
Yes, sir.
My mother died when she was 51.
Yes, sir.
And she's working in the National Guardian from over 36 years.
What's it? You mind saying you mind saying the name of it?
So I you know, sometimes, you know, that's why, you know, I felt like a friend. I need a drink, man. Okay, I know you don't like me to drink, but I need to tranquilize because if I really listen to what's going on here, I trip out.
And guess what? You're doing a wonderful job here tonight. You know, I could see you a little sweet, but you answer some and make some good points, and I tell you that's why we love the show.
God bless you, man. Thank you. Keep on doing the good voice, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lou. I love you too. Even though I don't know you, I love people on the whole. You know, I just want to say this. Thank you very much, sir. And have a wonderful night.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, you listen to the gentleman just now. He little cut, but he's very intelligent. And he's talking about the pension. Now, think about this, Bayman people. You think it's right now, like he said, 63, you know, get your pension at 65, being contributing all those years, right? The $1,500 or $700 he talked about, you probably in your first 2 years you already paid over $1,500 or $1,700, $5 or $10 every week. So how it is you could wait for so long and just get one little small little thing. Because I feel that governments or the Bahamas have used NIB, right, to benefit the civil servants who have done their time in government. Whilst at the same time, the less fortunate are taxed and given less. And I think that is a big slap on our face. We're going to take this call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside Inner City on Guardian Radio.
Yes, hello. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm fine, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Bahamas. I called a talk show about 2 weeks ago, and I was talking about NIB. This intelligent guy was talking all the good stuff with NIB and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? But the big boys keep missing out some things, right? Just like the last caller, I mentioned about they have at least about 10 to 20,000 permit holders. Yes. Foreign people holding permit here, and in order to get your permit to do it, you have to pay for your NIB today. Now, the foreign people who pay in NIB, they don't get the benefit from nothing. Where that money going? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And then, you know, I listened to a particular person who was calling off the stuff what NIB was doing and all that stuff, right? And they say NIB lend millions of dollars to Focal, Comrade Brewery, and a whole lot of other entities.
What, Focal? What?
Focal.
The Bahamian taxpayers' money?
Lend millions of dollars to Focal,
the Bahamian
Comrade Brewery, and a number of other big entities. Right?
Go ahead, sir.
A guy came on the radio a couple of days ago trying to promote Focal and their shareholders to get the shareholders to buy more shares, and they was bragging about how successful it was, and if you'd invest X amount of money 25 years ago, you would have had so much money. So our Focal given NIB the dividends and the profits they would have invested millions of dollars for. That's one thing. Why the government don't give us audit on NIB in the last 20 years so we could see what came in and where it gone. And not only where it gone, to see if anything coming back. Because I remember years ago, NIB did lend X amount of millions to Ministry of Housing to build a bunch of houses. So now when they sell those houses, you know what I'm saying, the NIB should get a profit, the money back in the profit when they sell those houses. You understand what I'm saying?
You're making some good points. Go ahead, sir.
Where all this NIB money going?
Well, I know, but how Focal and Commonwealth Brewery and what these places you talked about could be getting NIB contribution money when these are hard-working gas station people, vendors, taxi drivers, police officers, defense force officers, regular citizens who live in the country. How you could take the Bahamian taxpayers' money when this man just said earlier, not this gentleman, you're the one on the line now, when the one said earlier that if you die, the guy was 63, getting his pension at 65, and they've given him $1,700. Boy, there's some crazy stuff. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, all that is a big slush fund for the big boys.
For the big boys, and so
for the big boys.
So for me,
when it starts to get low, they throw out the slaves and they tax the slaves some more.
Nah, Bahamian people, you getting it?
Say nothing.
You listen to that gentleman just now and listen to the callers. What we're trying to tell you is how we are being used in the country. You understand? And that's exactly what the gentleman is saying right now, is actually what happened in our country. And that's why you see a lot of stuff happening in our country. It's because of ourselves. Our greed, and believe he's smart and when mistreat people, the father licking us. Go ahead, sir.
And we let the big boys them and the politicians eat our brains and always promise us. PLP and the FNM, when they campaign in the next general election, they need to come with no slick talk about, I promise you I'll do this and I promise I'll do it. They don't need to come with that. Only new parties or whatever can do, never was in, could come and tell you that what they can do. But PLP and the FNM need to come and tell you that.
They're supposed to know from experience exactly what the Bahamian people need when it comes to crime, when it comes to fixing the NIB, when it comes to fixing BPL, waterworks, and all these government, like the sports center and stuff like that. That's what you're saying, sir?
Yeah, and in the last 20 years, every time FNM or PLP come in, they always cry about putting more tax on people and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, road traffic can up their fees. You know what I'm saying? This other entity can up their fees, and they slowly, that's stacking up fees. So almost half your salary now just staying on taxes and fees, and I don't care what they talk about, they slick talk about NIB, no tax. Anytime the government got to force you to pay money, is a tax.
It's a tax. It is a tax.
It's a tax.
It is a tax, so it'll keep the treasury going.
Yeah, they slick talk, and then how much money did our government made collecting all those taxes last year? They don't tell us that.
And what they do with it?
They don't tell us that. It's like the big boys them own this country and they should be getting the profits of this country and squandering the money, and we got to pay it. The slaves have to pay it.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yes, sir. And I'm
but
glad.
People getting tired though.
And people are waking up. People are understanding the scenario like what you explained. I've understood this a long time ago, but it's good to have a conversation that there are many people who are now opening their eyes, because we're seeing how we ourselves as what we call the slaves, we are still here and we are paying the taxes. That's what we call ourselves.
Yeah, and now you see a lot of people tripping out.
Yeah, what you mean on the streets?
Yeah, I can mention this to you.
Go ahead, sir.
On another talk show, someone said that the majority of people who tripping out is because of lack of money. And I always say that crime is there greatly for the lack of money, as they squeeze all the money out of the society from the regular man.
Yes.
Crime will continue to rise.
Yes, sir. That's why I say, based on what I see right now, it's going to continue with this 100 pace, just like this. And we all are on the menu. And you're correct what you're saying, and you did a wonderful job. You want to say anything else? Because you did a fantastic job. You want to say anything else, sir?
No, that's it. That's it, because I could go on and on. Because I don't like what our country's going through.
And
that's all.
And like you said, the high obligates in the country, and the PLP and the FNM, parties, they need to understand that this is a trickling effect, and this is why we're in the position we're in now. The caller is saying that crime is the reason. A lot of people are doing crime because of money, and yes, it's true. It is true. The struggle is real out there. The struggle is real out there. There's a different world in the inner city country, and people are really hurting out there, and you're expecting for them to make the right choices or making the right decision. They're confused. The gentleman saying that, a lot of people are losing their minds. Why do you think so many of the Bahamian people and a lot of Haitian nationals who have no status and a lot of Bahamian people with education who can't find no work. You know, they're going through their life struggles. They lose their minds because they can't believe they're living in a country that is one of the richest in the world, but they can't see no future and they can't see none of this transparency. They can't see it. Go ahead, Gola.
No. Okay then. Good night.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much. Thank you very much. Carlos did a wonderful job tonight talking about the pension, and he made some valid points. You know, when he talked about focal, the government is using the Bahamian taxpayers' money with the national insurance to divide money to companies, and he is saying, where's the profit? You know, it makes sense because if you're going to use the Bahamian taxpayers' money, which you should not, that's supposed to be NIB. That's supposed to be for the Bahamian people who are paying their NIB as required by law to give their weekly or monthly contribution as a citizen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And in return, we are supposed to be given some back when we reach a certain age or pension. We call it pension. But 65, man, we need to enjoy life before we get 65. And like he said, you know, a lot of people are not living to see those type of age. Some people are dead in 50, 51, 52, 53. And that's correct. And then that benefit under $2,000 when you have contributed close to over $150,000, $200,000 in a 30-year period. You know, and the family gets nothing in return. Wives, we get a $3.5 billion hole. And this is for, like I said, reading the newspaper, Simon Wilson, the Minister of Financial Secretary, you know, say we need to deal with as soon as possible to reduce the threat that taxpayers will increasingly be called upon to plug. And all of the callers are referring to this. So gas prices up and down, you know, light bill, high skyrocket. You're wondering why? Huh? Because they got to get the money in the treasury to pay for all of the former higher obligations. And then if they don't have the funds, when they don't grab it up with a lot of tax, the next taxation, you know, then we get NIB way required by law that you pay a certain amount every week or every month. And it's on us. And all we're doing is sucking the Bahamian population dry. And let me here's what's going on, and why there's not much money around in the country for Bahamian people, and that's why we got to go back in the business. We live in a country where you would see an armor truck leaving central bank every few months. And that is the U.S. currency that is gathered up from downtown that goes to Canada. I can't say the estimate, but that's just millions of dollars that's supposed to stay in the country and navigate itself from Bay Street, the Grandstand, the Wolf Road, the South Beach. Same way go Montague where the residents live. Most of the money is gathered up because the U.S. Wants their money accumulated. They don't want it to be in the economy. So central banks gathers up most of the U.S. bills, and then they transfer it out the Bahamas. You'd see two police motorbike in the front, you see two armor truck, and then you'd see a next police motorbike or police car in the back, and they take this money to the airport, and this money goes out. And I think the Bahamas gets a percentage for gathering up the U.S. dollars. And then, before the caller comes on, I just want to explain this real quick. And then, don't go nowhere, caller. Just give me a second, let's explain something. Then we have here the Europeans. I think we had an economy about over a financial sector. I think I talked about it close to over $700 billion. That's our financial sector for this part of the central part of the world. And most of that money goes to Russia, America, China, Japan, or, places like that. That's where the money goes, where the business goes. And then we have the Chinese here in the country who has a lot of businesses set up. And they're in the inner city community, and they accumulate their wealth. And then they ship their money back to China. That's why we see all of these Chinese restaurants, Chinese stores, and they accumulate the American money that comes over the hill. They set that aside. Then they use the Bahamian money that's dollar for dollar, and they put it in their bank, and they send the American money back to China, and there the Chinese government gives them incentive, free taxes, free taxes, low prices, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then we have here in the country our brothers and sisters from Haiti who was being deprived of their freedom and their independence. They're being plagued into poverty. And in doing so, it has destabilized the country. Major countries like the U.S. and France have posed serious, embargo and stuff like that. And they just finished paying it off about a few years ago. And those who are here, they would make the couple dollars that are here and in need of supporting their families back in Haiti. They work hard and they ship their money back out to Haiti. And they say that a day how much money leaves from here goes to Haiti is in the millions. But the Europeans care the most, Canadians care the most, and the Americans care the most. You understand? I can't remember. I think it was $171 billion, not $700 billion, but $171 billion is the financial sector of the Bahamas. Or could be more, to be exact. Coming in right now, caller. So all in all, the Haitians are here. The Chinese, send their money back. The Haitians here were struggling, they got up the money and they know that their families are hurting in Haiti. So the little that we don't work for, the little $150, the little $200 that we would not work for, they gathered up and they send like $50 or $100 back to their family back in Haiti so they can at least survive. So, and with the lack of creativity in the tourism market, when we have 9 million visitors come to the Bahamas, when they're supposed to be considered customers, we as Bahamian people are never given an opportunity to really interact with them, to really sell our merchandise. And because of that, we can't find proper employment when we have 9 million visitors come to our shore. So I just want to rub it in. Go ahead and call her. You're on Inside in the City. Caller, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead, sir. Sorry we're taking so long.
I'm sitting here thinking about national insurance. That worries me also. Because I'd like to meet the person who first came up with this. The employer pays more than the employee and don't get anything back.
Yep.
How could I pay more for you than I pay for myself? That's the first thing wrong with national insurance. Because at the end of the year, the employer should even get some of his money back for being so diligent in paying his national insurance. Next thing, I know of some diplomats or dignitaries in our country whose husbands have died or wives have died over 24 years ago, and the country's still taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go to the hospital, we got to wait 2 or 3 days to see a doctor. A lot of that money can be shifted back to the poor people who built the country.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing, national insurance bought 2 or 3 buildings, and we didn't know anything about it. We don't know who borrowed the money or who got the money. All we know, the buildings were bought by national insurance money. Now, national insurance is not in the business of real estate. That's a pension fund thing.
So how?
But they got, and then I remember many years ago, Mr. Ingram borrowed $11 million.
I remember it. I remember too.
And that went to build something. But he said, I asked him about it one time. He said, no, I didn't borrow it. The government did. Okay, fine. The government borrowed it. Why the government can't put it back? Because everything if they make a mistake on your salary, they take it out. You got to pay it back. And the government should do that so you don't have these kind of problems. Because that's over $100 million gone on real estate that I know about.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't have been gone from National Insurance.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't stop misuse, and then they want to put it on us and make it seem like it's in such dire need. But it's the foolishness the forerunners did. And we don't know the foolishness what this debt is going to do with the money. If they would leave National Insurance money alone, they would not have this problem.
I agree with you 150%. Leave it alone.
But they always touching this money.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the poor, like we don't have 3 MRI machines yet in the hospital. And we are paying people whose husbands have died 20 or 24 years ago. And we still paying them.
So I just want to be able people understand what I'm saying. Remember I was talking a little earlier, and I was saying like how we keep on paying people over and over. We need to pay them one time and stop it.
I was driving when I heard that, yes.
You understand? This is the kind of stuff I was talking about now.
When your husband was out there making money back when the average man wasn't making money, if he didn't secure you, that's your business. You should live off of his investments.
Yes.
Because you're no greater than me. It's just that you happen to be in an office.
Yeah.
So you're not better than I don't know why we want to honor these, because these people are paid and they live good off the taxpayers.
And that's where this young generation now is paying the piper for all of our past leaders right now. We are still paying that. They said who in their mother's wombs are going to be paying for people who will die 25 years, 30 years ago because they was part of a political party.
I asked Mr. Lang yesterday.
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Lang, you talked about how we had these good years of this percentage increase, 2% and 4% some years and all of that.
Yes, sir.
The good years that we had, did we take any of that money and pay on our debt?
I don't think not.
We are in $10 billion. I don't ever hear about the debt going down.
No, not if you keep on borrowing.
These people cannot be mathematicians. Because when you make money, you pay your bills.
That's right.
So why we go, we're having a stellar year. You mean you're not going to pay nothing on our debt? We're just going to,
keep on borrowing.
Make money, we're going to look for something else to do?
Keep on borrowing and then tax people more.
And then to finish the project, you got to borrow to finish it.
When you're heading the budget mid-July this year again.
Yeah, and they do these things and just brush it past us, and they talk about they're debating it, and they already know what they're going to do.
Yes, sir. They get it planned. That's why they're the financial secretary.
And they stay, I wouldn't say fooling us, but there's nothing we can do once they pass it in the House.
No,
this
sir.
House has so much power. And my house don't have this kind of power where they got it's only a roof with 4 walls. I got the same roof with 4 walls, but I don't have this kind of power.
You know something? Not to cut you off. You know what I get to find out? Those guys are lawmakers and policy makers. That's their job.
Yeah, but they mess us up each time, man.
Yes, sir, they do.
I mean, the sharks and the turtles and the other things in the sea got more rights than us now.
Yes, sir.
Or they right up there with us.
Yes, sir.
Because we protecting them more than we protecting us, the living human being. But I still don't know why. I still say to myself and ask myself a question. Why does our hospital not have an MRI machine, not one? We have to go and pay $700 down in Harbor Bay if you want an MRI scan. And for the poor people who can't come up with that right away, they could die waiting to get the $700 to go get a scan.
Let me make this suggestion. Someone called on the show a few years ago and they talked about some ventilation system. Do you know there's some doctors who do private practice, and when the government, the Obamas order some of these equipment, do you know some of these private practitioners use their position as a member of this and that, and then they revoke those things to their private practices?
I wouldn't put it past them, sir. Because
it's impossible to say to me, in this one of the richest countries in the world, one of the most sophisticated countries, you're going to tell me we don't have an MIR machine in the Prentice Market Hospital?
No,
and
sir. You got to go and pay
$700.
What kind of...
What?
And Mr.
What?
The Prime Minister the other day got a car for $197,000. What him one is going to ride it? MRI machine, the public can use it. Are we not important? Him one, now he's spending $197 on. But if you today get sick, or the doctors can't see what's wrong through your blood a little searching, and you need an MRI machine, Mr. Brown, you better have $700 in your pocket if you want to get some results quick. Go down to Harbor Bay and pay them, and they give it to you right then when they're finished, and you can go back to your doctor. Now, why can't the hospital do that?
Because it's not a priority.
Okay, good. I just want us to understand.
It's just not a priority for us. Not for us. Not for us.
The poor people going there with pain. I see people in pain. And because they don't have the money, they got to stay there in pain until the doctors find out. And sometimes the person dies.
And Dad, this on too. Caller, in the same call I'm talking, we talk about that dialysis machine. And, he's on that dialysis. And he was stating that, he saw on the news where the government around that time, I think it was the Free National Movement, I'm not too sure. I don't want to put on him if I'm wrong. I'd apologize. But he said that, those machines even now reaching dialysis.
No.
So,
listen, the government, because we're a small country and we know everybody, it's easy to, we got plenty now. You could get one.
Even some of a few years ago, they were talking about some garbage trucks, government garbage trucks.
Right.
And then when a certain minister get in, these garbage trucks was parked up and scrapped.
Okay.
And then they were seeing later working for private company owned by a certain...
They devised a plan to make the public pay for their own garbage. Mind you, before we paid through taxes. Now, mind you, we weren't paying much taxes back then. So the government had to take of it. But now, you got the people used to paying who have to pay for garbage. They can never drop anything to take. They don't have to pay for the garbage to most of the places. So people are paying their own money for the garbage. Where is that deduction in our bills or the betterment of the country and the people?
Why we backwards bad?
Because we pay now, but they got us paying for our own garbage. But when I was growing up, you never heard of paying for garbage. That was the thing. The garbage man just came around and picked up the garbage.
Yes,
but now they devised a plan, fooled us, saying we didn't have enough money, and they're going to privatize it and allow these people to make money. So, where has the money gone that you saved? They always want us to. They always pull up your bootstraps, tighten up this, turn off the light, turn off that, do this, do that. Where are they trying to save us, the public, any money and do us any good? And you see, the thing about it, we can't never get to the house to question them with these silly things when they make these statements.
Yes, sir.
I listened to the minister of the hospital the other day, the minister of health, and he said absolutely nothing. All he talked about this is their completion, that is their completion, and he's proud to say this is completed. And he said absolutely nothing about health care. We're supposed to have the buildings, man. Long time.
Yes, sir.
Where is the machinery for the people? The woman who died in the over the Zoom the other day, she went to the clinic. Now, I'm thinking what a clinic should look like on these islands. It isn't much. We need to have apparatus and all. If you want this influx of people, you got to have medical facilities.
Yes,
some of the lives can be saved.
Yes, sir.
Invest in medical care. Save lives. You're talking about ride the wave and do this and do that. Each one. And then at the end of their thing on the stage, I love you. God loves you.
Well, they're doing it now. The Prime Minister and Chester Cooper, the Deputy Prime Minister, are doing an awesome job in their constituency, but the rest of the... they're doing it. Their development is big in Exuma. Development is big in Carolina. They're getting hospitals, they're getting condominiums. They're telling the residents, be a part of this investment here in Rocket Island. So they're doing it, but I don't know, but Nassau.
But see, invest in people's lives, man.
Yes, sir.
They're always trying to tell us how important life is, and to do early this, early that.
So I got to
If you go to the hospital, you got to wait 3 months, 6 months to come back or do this or do that. People dying. That's a long wait if you ask me.
Yes,
That's like torture.
So I got to ask you a question.
Yes.
When you say paying pension for 24 years, where do the government get to get this money to pay this he or she who are being a part of a political party or someone who was held a position? Where do they get this money from? Even though I explained it earlier in the show, but I'm just...
They take it from the poor and give it to the rich, and that they pass it in law, so it's legit.
So how they do that? They are raised...
By law, by the stroke of a pen, they make it right. You see?
And they increase it by doing little taxes here, like
Yes,
light
by
bill,
the stroke
gas.
of a pen.
So I just wanted...
They can be talking about it, but it doesn't go into law until it's written.
Wow. So I just want the general public to get an idea on how
And
the country
my friend,
runs.
when you see them do the stroke of that pen, we're in trouble.
Yes, sir. They say the pen is mighty.
But we haven't won. I haven't seen where the people have won in anything yet.
No, we just been struggling and suffering.
And the older I get, the more I see it.
Yeah.
You see, the older you get, then you start to pay attention because you're not going to the clubs or the parties.
That's
you're
exactly.
Home listening to talk shows and radio and what.
Yeah,
and you listen now more.
And you see, when I was saying it earlier, how I'm sitting out on the streets and I'm watching how the mothers talk to their children. I'm watching how the youngsters have no future, and I'm saying it's going to be 100 murders per year. That's exactly what we're doing now as we get older. And I'm saying that.
Yes.
I'm saying that.
I remember about in 1973, my brother said, watch it. Because of this drugs coming in now, we can start to have plenty murders.
And you see,
Back then I remember when I knew one person who...
What year you said? 1973?
Yes.
I just born in 1974, so your brother was and you know what he's talking about? He could see us, like how we became gangsters, my mom, them, and he saw all that, and he was exactly right.
Yes. And he also said something about this large migration of immigrants.
Of course.
We're going to have problems, and sure enough, we got them.
Yeah, because he saw...
This is 73.
Yes. And remember, I born in 74, so I used to be right when they talking about the situation facing the country's problem.
It's so much when you sit down and then listen. And then what kills me is to hear them in these rallies, how they love you.
No. They love you to vote for them.
And the minute they get in power, dog eat your lunch.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mr. Brown, I'm going to continue listening.
Man, you did an awesome job. You made the conversation very, very interesting. As far all of the callers did a fantastic job. And thank you very much, sir. You did an awesome job.
I like the show. You know I like the show.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I love you guys to comment, especially yourself, because you give some input. And I like your sincerity and your truthfulness, you know. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, you have a wonderful night. You and your family. Yeah. You know, 24 years and you're still 24 years and you're still getting pension. And this is some of the stuff like I really couldn't explain, you know, because I really don't know all about it, but I have the basic. And if you had a basic, you imagine. And let me just give you a prime example. No disrespect, because I am highly respectful. Just say we have like Clementine Maynard or a Lady Pinland. You know, Celine has been dead for many years now. And just say she receiving a pension from Celine. Then she would receive a pension for being the Governor General. And then she might receive a pension for being the First Lady for the rest of her life. Now, I'm not saying that she's not deserving of that. You know, and I'm not being disrespectful at all. You know, but that's how we develop this system of seniority where we do this, you know, and probably the same thing with Hubert Ingham's wife. You know, she would, you know, First Lady, and then, you know, get a pension, you know, but Hubert Ingham still is living, but that's like 3 sets of money that Lady Pinland would get, and that would accumulate into a $1 million or $2 million. I'm just saying, I'm just not being disrespectful. I'm just using the example, and this is what goes on. And then you look at Commissioner Blaise Clayton Fernando. If you notice, he was put on leave under the former administration, him and 1 or 2 other officers, senior officers, and I think it's DeVoe, and they were put on leave, and, you know, they went, and they put it before the court because they feel that they were victimized, and they were put on leave because of political affiliation. He became commissioner. After that previous government lost the election, he was sworn in as commissioner. So when I listened on the news, he was awarded money for his leave while he's on vacation that the previous government put him on. That's on the Bahamian taxpayers. It was a waste of time. So the Freedom National Movement cost the Bahamian taxpayers money because they put Fernando on leave. He won his case. Okay. All this is the Bahamian people taxpayers money. All these fines where you see police officers harassing people and lose their case, and they getting these fines, $80,000, $100,000 fine, or immigration officers violating illegal immigrants held in custody. We are seeing where they get anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000 or $800,000 in legal settlements, and all that's on the part of the taxes. So anytime our leaders of the country, whether it's the immigration officer, defense force officer, or public servant, it all comes down back to us, the Bahamian taxpayers. The small man. Increases the gas, increases in the light bill, increases in water bill, garbage collection, paying license fee for your car, all of that. NIB, all that right there. It's because we have to keep the pension for the obligates going. It's 24 years, we're still paying somebody, and they already passed away. And the money still is going to the husband or still going to the wife. And that could be in money being diverted to those abused kids to make sure that in the community there's a halfway house that is being developed to deal with at-risk kids, that when they're being abused at home, just send us there, halfway house. And the proper instructors and people who care about them are in these places to deal with these kids. The money is just being going to not saying not deserving, some type of entitlement that we have created within our political party, within the PLP and within the FNM. And now it's coming back to haunt us because we have to keep it going. $3.5 billion in the hole. Why is we taking money from NIB? Your hard-earned NIB is being rewarded to be buying, Focal, and etc. And houses, millions. And NIB is investing in these things, but yet still no funds is coming back in. The question needs to be asked. I want someone to do this one of these days. We need to find out over the years, as long as the Bahamas government has been around, we need to find out what is government worth. What is it worth? I mean, what it is. It can't be 1 billion, can't be 2 billion, got to be way more than that. I need to find out what's government worth. We need to find out what's national insurance worth. Like the caller said, we need to have an audit and then discuss this to the Bahamian people and let us know what is the Bahamas government worth. Every corporation has a worth. We need to find out what the Bahamas government is worth. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show today. And like I said, 24 years, and that's just an instance with Clayton Fernando. And then when he retire as commissioner, he would be getting a pension for the rest of his life. Stuff like that, you see. And we'd be paying it for the rest of our life and our children. So we need to find a way on how we can find a way to stabilize our pension. We need to be fair to those national insurance holders who contribute so much money and get so much less. Imagine this. You put in all those years of national insurance and then, got 2 years left, and you pass away, and you've contributed, over $100,000 to NIB. Now, when you pass away now, this NIB supposed to be a fail safe for the Bahamian people. Now you're finding out now it is actually a mechanism to hold the Bahamian people down. Because it's impossible that you put in so much money in an NIB, and then if you dead before your pension or you pass away, you only could get $1,800. No, man, y'all got to do better than that, man. If that guy put in over $200,000 and he died even before he get his pension, but if he has contributed thousands and thousands of dollars, you have to say to yourself, you know what? This guy has children. He has contributed. Yes, he's passed away, but it's here. His money is in an NIB, and we at least should come to a reasonable conclusion that he can at least, get a little $50,000 or $100,000 back on his national insurance that he has contributed. So that's why I was talking about this, because I very well know where the pension money goes, how it's received. It's received from the Bahamian taxpayers, the gas, the light bill, the water bill, buy a lot of tax, and then we are made to pay through tax. It's crazy. But those callers did a wonderful job tonight on the show. I'd see you guys next week on Garden Radio 96.9. I'm your host, Valentino Brown. Like I said, I have so many nicknames. They call me Scrooge, Scroogey. They call me Daddy. They call me MP. And it's just amazing to see, how many people, eyes are opening now to what is happening, not only in the Bahamas, but around the world. If you look at what's going on in France, the citizens of France now are fighting against their government because they trying to stop the farmers and certain things from growing healthy fruits. And they're fighting against the major companies that wants to stop farmers from growing natural fruits and vegetables and animals. So there's a lot of people right now in the world are waking up. And there are a lot of Bahamian people now are also waking up. And I hope that our leaders in this country today, in the political parties, if they really made this country good, they would have to understand that the Bahamian people's eyes have been opened up for many, many years. We keep government for only 5 years. And if you don't do the right thing, we're going to vote you out. But even that is killing us, because for each government that comes in, they take a lot of the Bahamian people's money and it disappears, just like go to NIB. And then the next government comes in and they do themselves, they may do some good things, they will do some bad things, they make some hard decisions, they might make some easy decisions. But at the end of the day, we can't break 100 murders. And we can't get unemployment down in this country when we have over 9 million visitors who are customers that comes to our shores. There should never be no unemployment in this country. There should never be no poverty in this country. I think as a country as big as the Bahamas, as small and not as big as the Bahamas is, with the 700 kids, I think our murder count should be anywhere less than 20 murders. I don't think we're supposed to be having no volume of armed robberies, because we create more business-minded people, more educated, more persons, especially females, who teach how to be a woman, how to be a mother, how to be a wife. And then we teach our young men how to be a man, how to be a young gentleman, how to be a father, how to be a provider, and how to raise a family. I think once we get on that track, I think we'd see a better Bahamas, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I want to say thanks to all the listeners that listened tonight. I hope you had a wonderful time tonight on Guardian Radio, and it was a pleasure to each and every one of you.